it's all just been so much pressure, and it doesn't really matter. So I wanted to start something really fun and upbeat so that we can keep it in the present moment and just have a good time. Is that all right with you, Lana Del Rey?
Sounds good.
Good. There you go. We've got that all out of our system. How are you?
I'm good. Better now.
Good stuff. So, you know, the story has been told over and over again in a record amount of time, in the shortest time possible. It's insane. So I want to just talk about like now and just talk about your interests and talk about what you want to talk about. What do you want to talk about?
Me? I'd like to talk about anything other than myself.
Yeah, I know. What a crazy few months you've had, huh?
It has been different, yeah.
You have said, one of the things I really like that has been a constant throughout the press that you've had to do is that you've said that this has always been something that you've wanted to do, to make music, that it really lives and dies with the music. That's it. The rest of it is whatever, right?
I like writing and I like singing, but I'm passionate about it because I enjoy the craft of it.
Yes.
But I do actually have a big outside life outside of music.
Included in that, in those interests, are film. I mean, you're really into the idea of film, and your music feels very cinematic when you listen to it.
Well, I'm definitely interested in like having a cinematic soundscape like within a record. And then I do like films. Yeah, I do.
Did it kind of play any role at all on the album Born to Die? I mean, it's sort of impossible to make cinematic sounding music without having a scene in your head, right?
That's true. You know, I think when I wrote the songs, I was sort of looking back to moments in my past and trying to paint pictures with my words about the way that things used to be. And then when I met Emile Haynie, who's sort of been a famous hip-hop producer for the last 10 years.
Can I just stop you there and also point out for those listening that he's probably the classiest beat maker in New York City?
He's really classy. You know, when I met him and when I met Justin Parker, I really felt like I met my musical soulmates. And, you know, Emile's beats plus Larry Gold's string composition really sort of started to make a cohesive kind of gorgeous sound for the entire record.
It's because, you know, Emile makes modern day hip hop soul music, I think.
Yeah, like when I found Emile, we were sort of an unlikely duo, but he knew exactly what I was talking about when I described the sound of the record I was trying to bring out. And we've just been, God, we're together so much, you know.
I bet there have been times recently where you wish you were back in the studio in that safe place with him just making beats.
Yeah, I do a lot of the time, but you know, I've really found like a musical family within the three producers that I met, and you know, and Emile's been amazing, really supportive. Like he's not even moving on to another project yet. We're still working on like a mixtape to release in late summer, and
Fantastic. We're going to continue to talk to Lana Del Rey, and we're going to play right now a session track that you were kind enough to do for us very recently of the title track, your new album called Born to Die. How cool is Made Avail, by the way?
Just gorgeous. It was crazy.
Amazing, isn't it? It smells of music in there.
It does. The band was just like in heaven.
Did they check out the Bing Crosby plaque on the wall?
I don't know if they saw that.
Oh my God, there's history everywhere in that place, and now you have a piece of that as well. Born to Die from the BBC Radio Archive. Here we go. Lana Del Rey, it's a chance for us to properly talk. We spoke briefly on the phone when you were in New York City once, shopping on Fifth Avenue.
I wasn't shopping. I was like sitting on the corner, and then you were like, "Oh, Fifth Avenue, how fancy!"
Oh, you fancy, huh?
Oh, you fancy? You think you're fancy, huh? I was like, "Great."
So you're back out here in the UK, and I suppose given that it was very recent, we should give you a chance to talk about what happened last night with the Maccabees. I mean, it's you know, it's early to be not doing a show, and it never hurts anybody more than the musician who has to cancel. So what happened?
Well, no one wants to cancel, but I just really wasn't feeling very well, and I did the Made Avail sessions earlier in the afternoon, and pretty much by the end of that I was pretty certain I couldn't really go on stage, but I wish that I could have, but you know, never really had to cancel a show before.
It's just, see, the music, we've gotten too serious. Did you hear that? All of a sudden,
Jesus, is that true?
It got too serious there for a second. All of a sudden, it was like the end of the Incredible Hulk there for a second. It was like I was going to start crying, then you would have started crying, and Claire would have started crying, and everyone would have cried a little bit. We would have felt better at the end. We don't want to go there. We don't want to go there. Now, I want to talk about the live thing because not everybody necessarily, I think, should feel once they make a great record that they need to rush out and perform it. I mean, if you think about yourself in the essence of what you're trying to do with your art, with your craft,
Right.
and you feel very comfortable in the studio working with your producers and the
Yeah.
people around you, you know, for instance, some people, when they think about public speaking, it makes them want to throw up.
Yeah, most people.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel when, I mean, but there are some musicians, for instance, if I said Dave Grohl, what's the
Right.
thing, you know, you look forward to most about being in Foo Fighters? He'd go, touring, playing live, man!
Yeah,
Like, how do you
totally.
feel when you think about the idea of, let's say your manager came in and said, okay, let's do a tour. How would it make you feel right now?
Well, it kind of depends on the day for me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, like, I am sort of more, like, I do well in the studio because I like putting things together kind of with my producers and things like that. But, you know, ever since I went on the road and I realized how many good people were out there, I actually felt pretty good, you know, on the road and touring. And I like to travel, but, you know, I also really like Brooklyn. I like being in New York, so I miss home. And, you know, it really depends on the show. Like, if it was, I probably wouldn't play a really giant show. I would probably, you know, but as long as they're kind of small, I have a good time.
Yeah, right. And many who have gone before her, whether it's, you know, Neil Young right through to Bob Dylan or most recently Adele,
Right.
these are the artists that say, look, if there's enough interest in what I have to do live,
Right.
then I'm going to pick and choose how I present that. Have you thought about, like, making it more bespoke for you in the future?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everyone on my team is totally aware that I'd like to cap every venue at 900 people. So, yeah, like, those artists are a good example of people who did things on their own terms. And I think the people that I'm involved with, like, they're involved with me because they know that I'll do things the way that I want. What I really cared about was just that the record was good. And so, I mean,
Too
that
good now, huh?
I know. It's out. Off to the races.
There you go. That horse is bolted. Welcome to the modern world. And you are, and this has been a really interesting experiment. I want to talk about that in a sec, but let's make it light again and talk a little bit about A$AP Rocky. This guy is just a real breath of fresh air
Yeah.
for American rap music. And I know what a B-girl you are as well.
Well, I mean, you know, I like the best of the best. I don't like it all, but I mean, you know, like, I feel like energized by, like, good rap music. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is it. This is an example of that. A$AP
Nice.
Rocky. Lana Del Rey and A$AP Rocky. Peso right there representing. You
Yeah,
know?
we have covers. We have a joint cover together this month.
Really? On what magazine?
Complex. He got one with Jeremy Scott, and I'm on the flip side. It's
That's pretty
it's
cool.
Beautiful, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's cool.
You frame that one.
Yeah, definitely.
You're going to have lots of opportunities like that, I reckon, you know, because you are a very intriguing character, you know, just outside of your music and the way that, you know, the kind of the subject matter of your songs. I think you're going to find yourself meeting your heroes in some pretty interesting environments, you know.
Ooh, I like that prediction.
Yeah, right. This has been a fascinating experiment watching this all happen from my point of view for one very specific reason, which is that the music that you've made,
Right.
the art that you've attached alongside it through videos or photographs, the way that you've presented yourself, be it honest or otherwise, and that's entirely your business, by the way.
Right.
But I believe it's absolutely honest. But what it's done is it's conjured up an essence of a time that's come before us, and yet it's found its way to people in the most modern way imaginable.
Right.
Have you thought about that? And if not, can you now?
Well, I mean, when I was putting the clips together, like, I wasn't really going necessarily for a vintage feel. I just knew that I loved the quality of vintage film. But I didn't think that people would really think that it, like, harkened back to bygone eras so much.
When did you sort of become a digital kid? Because you grew up in the middle of nowhere, and you know the internet has become something that has changed the way that, you know, everything is distributed and discovered. But predominantly, music has been completely transformed. The industry's had to redefine itself. I mean, when did you sort of become a digital kid and discover that it could work for you as an artist?
I mean, like, in terms of being a digital kid, I had different phases of it. Like, I remember when I was 14 years old, Instant Messenger came about, and so, like, we all met our boyfriends over Instant Messenger.
It's like the carrier pigeon
when
of
we were
digital, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I just remember when that happened, it was like you just couldn't freaking believe it. You were like talking to it like the most popular senior in high school and like sneaking out of the house to meet him down the block because
Yeah.
he was on IM. That was crazy. And then, you know, I didn't really pay attention to the internet. Like, I've always been a big believer in the internet, known a lot of people who were sort of, you know, trying to use it to unify the world in a good way and make our world one small global community where information could travel quickly and and help could travel quickly. So I mean, I never actually thought about it in terms of like furthering my music. I was always putting up videos on YouTube since I was really young, just because it was a passion of mine. I liked editing and things like that. But I always thought, like, if anything went well, it would be because someone came to one of my shows.
The traditional approach. Hey, that's good music. I'll tell someone about it.
Yeah, I mean, that was how I read about other people sort of getting their music heard. But
it's interesting, though, because now that's just a given these days in how we discover music. And this is just a superb segue here I've just come up with in my head. This is on some broadcasting. This is classic broadcast material. Back in the day, you had to rely on classic singer-songwriters like Bob Dylan or Joan Baez to get the message across. They were the modern-day information carriers, mate, back in the day.
Maybe.
And yeah, they were. I mean, that's to a certain extent how things changed was through song. And, you've chosen one or the other. We've never played Joan Baez on our show before. I really like to. Can we choose that?
Oh, is that why? Yeah, yeah, I'm good. You okay?
This is going to be the last interview she ever does. This is the straw that's going to break the camel's back today.
No, I had that straw a long time ago.
All right, well, I'm glad that, we got one more out of you before you disappear back into the comfort of the studio.
Thank you, my love.
You've been doing something really cool recently, and I know that you've got a track with Bobby Womack on his forthcoming new album with Damon Albarn and Richard Russell.
I do.
How was that experience for you working with the legend?
It was good. I mean, I think they wanted me to come in after, like, the day after they saw me on Jules. And so, really, they just, Bobby wanted me to freestyle on just some of the tracks he had. He wanted me to just make up a chorus, and so that's what I did. And it's been a while now, but it was beautiful.
Well, I've heard the track. And
have you?
Yep. And I can tell you that it's incredible. And
really?
There's a note that you hit on that song where you go high and your voice cracks. And I was like, it sounds like Bobby. And it's not. It's you.
Oh, shoot.
There you go.
Hey, that's good. I haven't heard it. I'm glad they're going to use it,
Well, fingers crossed. I think it's amazing. Fantastic. I think you should be really proud of me. I can't wait for people to hear that side of you as well with that track. It's going to be good, interesting.
Great.
Lots of things to look forward to. In terms of this year, ideally having, achieved so much in terms of what's conventionally successful with lots of people watching video games and listening to the songs on the album. You made it. The album's leaked. You made it. You're there. You did it. Congratulations. You're a modern day hero. What do you want to look back on 2012 and what do you ideally want to have achieved?
I mean, I think the same things I sort of want to achieve every year, which is just to have no regrets and live gracefully. And I wanted to make a good record, and I did that, so that's cool.
Yeah, you did. And, I hope you enjoy that process of getting it out and the way people react to the music, because, as well as I do, that's all that really matters. And thanks very much for your time, Lana Del Rey.
Well, thank you.
And we will catch up with you when the time is right. Are you sort of planning any shows out here again in the summer, or is that too early to say?
Thinking about festivals. Kind of have to figure it out.
It's nice to talk with you, and thanks so much for the recorded session at Maid of Vale. We're going to finish with $1 Million Man, and we're going to play video games out tomorrow night because everybody knows that song. So this is $1 Million Man from Lana Del Rey. Have a good night, Lana.
Thank you.
Well, let that be the end of it as far as we're concerned. The last sort of week or two has been... That's it. Career's over. Move on. No, I'm joking. No, I mean the hype. I mean all the sort of discussions and all the debates. And they'll continue, and so they should. That's what music's for, provoking reaction. But with regards to Lana Del Rey, when you can go into Maid of Vale Studios over the course of a session in front of an audience or not, and you can capture that kind of atmosphere with a band that sounds that lush and that fantastic, then there's something special going on there, There's no window dressing happening here. There's a real artistic credibility involved in this project. And I've spoken to people who've been in the studio for what my humble 2 cents is worth and who've collaborated with her, and they have said to me, and I trust these people 100%, that she is the real deal. So $1 Million Man taken from her forthcoming album. She'll see it through, and the record come out, fans will respond, she'll build a huge audience, tour around the world, and this will all be a tiny little speck of dust in the grand perspective of life.